is happening, people? You're welcome for that one, by the way. Anyway, thank you very much for clicking on the video and joining me for this week's training video where we are going to be critiquing my bench press this time. If you guys watched the last Critique Geek, that's actually a very hard thing to say. If you watched the last Critique Greek video, if you watched that last squat video, then you're gonna have a really good idea of what the layout of this one is going to be like. The basic thing here is that I'm gonna go through and show you guys my bench sets. Now, during the actual benching, I'm going to be slowing it down, pausing it at times, just stopping completely and explaining to you guys certain things that I am doing wrong and pointing out some just problems with my technique that hopefully you guys will be able to look at your own sets and recognize some of the same mistakes so that when I give cures for that, you guys will be able to apply it to your training and we all get better together. And it's the exact same thing as with the squats, guys. I'm not gonna be checking my reps here in between in the viewfinder to get an idea of what's going on. If I do share anything between my sets, it's simply gonna be how I feel about the weight, what cues I'm using, maybe some relevant information that will help you guys out. The giant set of the day is gonna consist of axle rows. If you're older than 30, you are welcome for that reference. A closer grip bench press, not quite where I would consider close grip, but definitely further in than my normal competition bench press, and then glute ham raise halos. And finally, the exact same thing as with the squats. I'm not wearing straps, wraps, suits, anything else that has anything. It's gonna be a completely raw lift. However, I am wearing my lifters, and I think this will be the first time that I am wearing my lifters on a bench press since this big break and layoff. So that's actually gonna make a big difference. A lot of people don't know why lifters can make a difference on the bench press, and for some people they absolutely don't, and if that's you, great. But for some people like me who actually have short limbs, I have short arms, which help on the bench press, but then I also have short legs, which does not help on the bench press because it affects my leg drive in a negative way. So when I actually have lifters on, it gives me about an inch more of clearance there where I can keep my heels on the ground and drive off to push my body north, which I'm gonna be talking a lot about in this video, I'm sure. But yeah, so putting lifters on does actually help my bench press. So if you guys wanna give that a try, if you have lifters, then feel free. But if you don't, I would not run out and buy lifters thinking it's gonna be the solve to the bench press problem, because my friend, these are not it. Anyway, I'm gonna start lifting. All right, guys, so just like last time, I'm going to let the first 2 reps just play so you guys can see the bar speed and you see what happens in real time. And then I'm going to slow it down and pause it and do things like that, like right here. You guys can see I'm way arched up off the bench, and that is a specific way to get the bar out of the rack without losing your tightness and things like that when you are alone. So that's what I'm doing here. The problem is that I did not put my heels back down on the ground until now. So some federations allow you to compete with your heels off the ground. Some prefer that you keep them on the ground. But for my personal benching, I like to keep them on the ground. So in this position, my feet are actually back a little bit too far for me to get adequate purchase on the ground for good leg drive. That's why you're not really seeing much leg drive there at all. Now, everyone's foot position is going to be different. However, for me, my feet just a couple inches forward would allow me to use my legs a lot more. Now, luckily, that was something that I ended up remedying later in the workout, and I didn't really do it again until things got serious. All right, so of course 225 went really well. Again, I would still consider that very much a warm-up set for me in the past. However, when I went for 300 for 6, which was where I topped out on my 6 week, 300 is not that far away, so that's why I'm kind of taking 225 a little bit more serious right now. However, I'm not taking it serious enough that I didn't put my heels on the ground, and I did a lot of dumb stuff on that set already. I'm sure I just wrote to myself 10 seconds ago. Now, as far as cues go, in my head right now, on that set, I was very, very focused on my upper body. I was trying to get tight. That's something I feel like I have lost since the layoff, is I can't get my upper back super tight. So you guys see me on my setup trying to scrunch everything together as tight as possible so that when I rack that bar, I go. I'm also not taking a breath, for those of you who notice that. I'm squeezing the bar as hard as I can, and then I'm getting one big belly breath, unracking the bar, and then I'm getting my first rep, if not both reps, on that first breath. Now, I know a lot of people do that differently, and I'm not telling you that one way is right and one way is wrong. All I'm saying is, for me personally, I can get more air in my belly without load than I can with, even if that load is in the form of a bench press, not even like a squat or a deadlift or anything. I can still get more air into my belly if I do not have that weight on me. So I get it beforehand, and then I hold it so that I can almost be like a spring, in that when I unrack that bar, hopefully my upper back and everything is all compressed and tight. And as that bar goes down, it's just compressing, 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 compressing. So once it's touching my chest, it can be released. However, if you think so much about the top half, then you forget about the bottom half, which is pretty much happened there. 275, let's go. By the way, if you ever find that your lower back is too shot to do heavy barbell rows, just grab an axle or some back grips and you'll be shocked at how much differently that will challenge you. I love those types of rows. But here's 275, so you can check out the bar speed. Really not bad. It's not as good as I'd like, but it's not terrible. But the real problem with the set is in the descent right here. You can see I am not keeping my elbows tucked. They are flared way too much. And so much, in fact, that I should have them tucked to the point that my triceps actually bounce off of my lats, give me a little pop off my chest. That is not happening. But in reality, the even worse sin here is that I am flaring my elbows right there. You'll see it a couple times. That little flick that you're seeing there is really, really good if it happened later. Because once your elbow flicks out like that, that means that you are recruiting more muscle groups to help you with the press. However, if it happens earlier because you did not keep your arms tucked on the descent, then if the weight was heavier, then literally it's going to stall you out because you're letting go of all that built up energy that you tried to create, like I talked about before, where as you lower it, you're just trying to crank everything tighter and tighter and tighter like a spring, and the second your elbows flare, you lose all that tightness and you're suddenly relying back on your arms. So I think it is very, very important. I could have moved a lot more weight, a lot better here if I would have kept them tucked on the descent. However, I didn't. That is not something that I really fixed much on this because I didn't realize I was doing it until after the sets were over. All right, so some positives about today are that it is absolutely gorgeous out. It is about like mid 80s right now. It's not super hot, it's not super humid, and my workouts always go better when it's like that, and we haven't had a break like this in quite a few days, so this is really nice. Also, I got into a little bit of a situation this morning at my house, so it pushed my workout back some. I had planned on getting this done a little bit earlier in the morning, but to be completely honest, I don't work out as well early in the morning. It was just the way time was gonna work out, and so I'm kind of fitting this one in. But that actually brings me to my question of the day. I actually really liked last week getting to go through and talk to you guys, read all you guys' responses to the lightweight baby question about what goes through your head right before a heavy set. And for this week's question, I want to ask you guys, are you guys more of a morning lifter, a night lifter, an afternoon lifter? Like when works best for you, and do you think that actually matters? There's like one school of thought that believes that does not matter whatsoever, and there's a whole nother school of thought that says your CNS isn't awake yet or whatever. I will say for me, a lifter who isn't extrinsically motivated, like music makes no difference to me, the environment makes no difference to me, the people around me make no difference to me, I will say what time I work out absolutely makes a difference. I am 100% weaker in the morning than I am in the evening type of time. My best possible time to work out would probably be nighttime, probably like 10 to 1 a.m., that type of range. That's when I'm probably most awake, my mind is the most ready and most sharp. When I end up working out, typically is in the afternoon, usually like around 3 o'clock, and that is absolutely my sleepy time. So it doesn't work out much worse as far as mental acuity, but in reality, my strength does not show up until about midday. I really feel like my grip strength is not there. I feel like a lot of things are not there. I'm sorry, the sweat will not stop dripping my eye. But yeah, so are you guys a morning lifter? Are you guys an evening lifter, an afternoon lifter? What do you guys do? Just interested in knowing, so yeah. About that set, it actually felt pretty good. 275 felt more like the way 275 is supposed to feel, so I think I'm going to I'll probably jump 300 next and then go 315 and see how that feels. I'm tempted to go to 315 right now, but being patient, keep my ego out. We've talked about this. It's a hard thing for me, but yeah, 300 is. Now guys, these are called glute ham raise halos, and actually Uncle Nick came up with them, but I put them in people's programs. They ask about them all the time, so if you don't know what it is, that was them. Here is 300. Let's check out the speed. That one's pretty good. That one less so. Let's talk about what is going wrong, obviously. So, if you guys watch my knees on this one, we're going to be talking about leg drive. Now, you can see they're kind of pinched in, which is really bad. I should actually be forcing them out hard enough that if someone were to walk by me and just shove on the side of my leg, it should not collapse in, and that's definitely not the case. With them being kind of pinched in, the problem is that it's going to make me force my legs upward instead of sliding my body back. On leg drive, I should be trying to slide my head right off the top of the bench, forward like north. However, those hips are just shooting up, and that energy is going elsewhere, but it's not going into the bar to help that press. All right, so I have nothing really bad to say about that. It felt pretty good, but this is one of those instances where I wish that I was looking at my sets between, but I'm gonna stick to the rules. I'm not gonna look at it until afterwards and I'm reviewing everything and ripping it apart. However, I wish I could have felt the bar speed on that. A lot of times perception is not reality, and so there's a lot of times when I will be lifting something and it feels like it's crawling, and I'll ask someone and it goes faster, I'll check the video and it was moving fast. And there's other times when I think that the bar moved pretty well, in reality it was actually crawling. So I wish I knew how that went. I'm guessing it's probably faster than it was in my head. I'm gonna jump 315 and see how that goes. That might be the top set. I'm really hoping not. Let's see how 315 goes. All right, so let's take a look at 315 here. A couple things that are going to be going wrong. You can see the bar speed still is not really that bad, but my force is going all over the place. If you guys watch when I descend here, I'm definitely favoring my left side. I'm trying to take less weight off of it and just make it lighter. You can see my whole body starting to torque kind of towards the right so that the right can bear the load. My left shoulder is the one that's in trouble, right? That's the one that just got a bunch of the surgeries done. It's had a bunch of problems. So that is why I'm trying to stay away from it. What I should be doing is trying to push my back flat against the bench. Almost like I'm trying to push my back and bench away from the barbell rather than pushing the barbell up away from my body. That is something I'm absolutely not doing, and that is why you see me kind of ratcheting one side up more than the other. I'm just like, I'm babying it. Again, it would help if I was keeping my elbows tucked, because then my back would be taking more of the load as opposed to just my arms and feeling it in my shoulder. So there's a lot of things that need to be fixed there. However, one thing's for sure, if you're going to press heavy weights, you can't be doing it one side at a time. It all needs to act together, and the best way that I know to do that is to push my back into the bench rather than push the bar away from my body. All right, so this is where that whole pride thing really starts getting in my way, because my pride, my ego right now is telling me jump 365, hit that double, be happy about it. I know in my head that 365 will be sloppy. There's no way I'm doing technique correct. I believe in my heart that I could get it for a single. Probably really ugly, slow, grindy single. I don't think there's any way I'd get it for a double. However, I really like to find out the end of stories, so I'd like to know if I could get that, but I don't think I'm gonna make that jump right now. I think it'd be smartest for me to jump around like 340. I would love to jump to 350 just because that's a nice number in my head. But again, I don't think I can get it as clean as I would like as far as the way that I felt on 315. So I think the smart jump here is gonna be 340 and see if we can double it. Hopefully it goes well. All right, so here we go. Top set of the day is 340 pounds. You guys see me trying to get my upper back and everything just as tight and compressed as possible so that when I can bring this bar down. However, look at my leg. Look at that. It decided to move. My legs are not set whatsoever. I was thinking so hard about my upper body, completely forgot about my lower body. Here, when we get to the slow motion, you're going to see I start lowering this bar and then realize that my heels aren't there, so I move it. See my right leg? Yeah, you're never going to move anything heavy if you are moving also, right? You need to be as set and as solid as possible so that those weights have a good foundation to move off of, and they just didn't hear. That's my legs pinched together. It's all bad. I'm coming up off the bench. All the things I talked about in this video that I've done wrong, I did wrong on this set, and it was just compounded. It's much like if you're shooting a gun at a target. If you're 3 feet away, your mistakes aren't really going to show up that much because you can account for them, right? If you drop back to 30 feet away, those same exact mistakes are going to show up a lot more. And same thing there. If it was 135, you wouldn't really see the mistakes, but at 340 pounds, you definitely do. So now it's just about cleaning those things up, bringing them together, getting better, and getting stronger. And that is why you do not let ego get in the way. If 350 would have been on that bar, I don't know. I probably would have gotten it. It just probably would have been really, really ugly, and well, we'd probably still be here watching it. You could have like gotten a report card and ordered a packed lunch, and it had time. Anyway, 340 for a double on the bench press really isn't that terrible considering where I'm at right now. Actually, it's not that bad at all, because before the big layoff, if you guys remember, I had 2 shoulder surgeries, a bunch of stuff went bad with the shoulder, bone marrow infection, all kinds of things. And my shoulder never fully recovered. Actually, I think the best that I ever got back to was 365 for, I think, maybe 4 or something like that. I honestly can't remember, but I think it was around that. So I'm not very far off of that at all. So that actually feels pretty good. Technique-wise, it doesn't feel horrible, but again, I haven't looked at it. I'm sure I had plenty to say about what's going on. But the strength being there alone feels a little bit better. Same with overhead press. Deadlift didn't really go away that badly, not terribly, but really the squat. I was lucky enough the other day to hit a 500 for a single without a belt, without wraps, anything like straps, anything, which really does not feel good to say out loud considering where I used to be. But guys, that's the game. You had to build back up. I took all that time off. It's going to take time to get back. It's not going to take nearly as much time to get back as it did originally get there. So I'm not terribly upset about it. I'm not terribly worried about it. The sheer fact that I was able to get 500 on my back again, especially on a day, that was a really bad day for me as far as my Lyme was concerned. I was really run down. I did not feel good at all, and I still went in, and I was even talking to my wife. She was working out with me that day, and I said, I hit 475, and I told her that I wanted to hit 500 for a single just to know it was there on my worst day, just to know it's there without a belt, without knee wraps, without anything like that, just to know that 500 pounds would be there. And sure enough, she told me not to go for it, or she at least gave me the look that said, you don't really have it. Anyway, I loaded the bar and I went for it, and it was slow and grindy, and I shot my chin up just like we talked about in the last video, but it went, which gives me some confidence because I honestly didn't like how 315 felt on my back that day, and I was able to work out to 500 and then drop back to 315 and did a bunch of reps there for some volume stuff. So a lot of times the way that the day begins and the way the day ends are two very different things, and today ending at 340 is actually a really good sign for things in the future. I do believe the 400 would actually fall. Honestly, I don't think it'll be that far away. Some other really good news is that my gym is opening up Saturday, so a lot of people are going to be able to come back and start working out again, which is going to be absolutely amazing. You guys are going to see hopefully some more videos from there in the future as well as back here. I am going to take you guys around there and give you kind of a tour of the new NEVERsate 3.0. Just what it looks like now, and as we had to downsize and all that stuff. So it should be very good. It's going to be a really good time. I'm so pumped to see my athletes again and just get back to doing some coaching and just having a good time with all that. So really pumped, really happy. I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. I thank you so much for all the positive feedback on the last one, and I hope this one helped you guys out as well to help all of our benches start to climb again. So I will catch you later in the week. Until I do, go out something amazing, realize, keep working hard, people. Be nice to each other. I'll see you then.